Okay, so in this video, I'm doing paint correction on a black car. I'm going to an award show. So the person that I do detail work for has asked that I come as soon as possible, which is why it's midnight right now. But he only needs the front quarter of it done, so I'm going to be doing the hood and the top of the fenders, top of the headlights, stuff like that. So it won't be too long, it won't be too difficult. Like I said, it was recently repainted, and when they buffed it after painting it, they did it with wool, which one of the things I'll be saying in this very often is you just don't use wool. It's never ever worth it. They make foam pads that work just as well. Anyway, I digress. I'm just gonna be teaching the basics, tips, tricks, stuff like that, stuff I've learned over the years. In this specific case, I'll be doing paint correction. It's not too bad, but like I said, they buffed it with wool, so you can see the swirling and the hazing and all the fine lines, like right here. That is from buffing with wool. That's a no-no. That's just a no-no. The garage that we're in has extremely bright LED lights, which show absolutely every flaw. So we're going to be seeing if we can get those out. See just how good we can get this without having to do any hard correction. First thing is obviously prep. That takes the longest, honestly. Getting everything together, getting everything near you. You don't have to move too far to do everything. So right now, I got a whole rag bin full of good rags, bad rags, even glass rags, but I just won't be using those. Stuff bin. So I'll be using this actually right now, Perfecting Cream. Probably the Best of Show wax, because Best of Show wax doesn't really last that long, but it looks phenomenal. Won't be using that. Fast correcting, won't be using that. More perfecting. Here we got all perfecting pads. More perfecting, 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 and fast correcting, which we do not want to have to use. Won't use, actually not using them. But for this particular car, I will be using a brand spanking new pad. So get that out, put that on, get everything ready and together. Always try to get your pad as centered as possible. That looks good. So we got that on. What we're gonna do first, clear the surface of contaminants. This car doesn't get driven often, or else I would be clay barring it. Always want to clay bar before you buff if it's a daily driven car. And when you get the contaminants off, it doesn't mess with the pad at all, it won't mess with the cream at all, you won't drag stuff around the paint. So always try to start with the clay bar. After that, you're going to want to assess the level of correction that you're going to have to do, or that you think you're going to do, and then start with the lightest option. You start with the lightest option, and every that way, if it's coming out, you don't have to go to the rougher stuff. But if you have some deeper stuff, and you have to go to the rougher stuff, that way you know without ruining anything. So I'm just going to clear the surface of contaminants right now, and I guess go from there. Alright, now that I have the prep work done, I only see a few deeper scratches. Seems like somebody has put their fingers all over it. Which, believe it or not, when people touch your paint, regardless of what they say or think, it scratches paint. Oh yeah, look at that. Those are all fingerprints. See some more of the swirling. So before you start a car, try to section it off, figure out what panels you want to do first. Don't just do the whole thing at once. Overwhelm yourself. Compound will dry out. Not good. So I'm going to have to do it, and it seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4, so I should be able to do this in 6, maybe 7 if I do that top part separately. With the new pad, you're going to want to prep it, kind of like moisturize it, because right now it's obviously completely dry. Do a liberal amount on there. Make sure to get right around the ring. Always have to get around the perimeter, that way there's no dry spots, not picking the compound up. And just rub it right around. Well, I just did 1, 2, 3, 4. I did smaller dots on the opposite sides, and then just rub it right in. That way it's nice and moisturized, it's prepped. Okay, so the next part we're putting the product on. Some people dab it onto the car. I think that's counterproductive. I don't do that. A couple dabs on the pad, and then we'll just dab it right around the area that we're going to be doing. And then a quick pass on the lightest setting. Spreads it around, gets an even coverage, and then you go back in on whatever the recommended setting is for the compound or for the pad. This one in particular says a recommended speed range of 3 to 4. So that's what we'll be doing. Always be wary of the cord as well. The cord is not a nice thing, and it will scratch your vehicle. The idea behind this would be a what they call a crosshatch pattern. So you'll come down, back up, back down, back up over this section that you're doing, and you'll go left to right. And then you do that 3 or 4 passes each way, and then you wipe it off and you look at what you got. You don't want to go too fast, but at the same time, you don't want to go too slow. You don't want to stay in one place for too long. If you're trying to get at the spot that's just giving you a hard time, keep hovering over it, but don't just sit there on it. If you're using a foam pad, it probably won't hurt you, but just to be on the safe side, just keep hovering over it, because you want to make heat. You don't want to make too much heat. I'm going to wipe this off. We're going to see where we're at. So, definitely looks better, but I'm afraid that I'm going to have to correct it. There is still, you can see all those fine lines in there. Mostly because the LED light, they capture all the imperfections. But if you look at what it looked like before, we already made a huge improvement. And this is just off Perfecting Cream, which is a lighter compound, a lighter pad, not nearly as abrasive. So this is what we did. Still those fine lines. And then this was before. There's something else I forgot to mention. The depth of the clear. They do make meters for that. I don't know what they're called, but I do know they're extremely expensive, which is why I don't have one. If you've done it enough, you can usually tell how much clear you have left on the car, how much room you have, because what you're doing when you're correcting is you're taking layers of the clear off, and you obviously don't have an unlimited amount of clear to take off, so you want to take off the least amount possible while achieving the best results. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do another pass over the area that I just did and see if I can remove any more of the fine lines that are in the paint currently. Again, I'm trying to have correction be my last resort. Strictly doing Perfecting Cream right now. Okay, so I just finished my third pass on the top here. Definitely looks better, definitely took out more. If you look here, aside from the smudging from the compound, you see that a lot of those deeper scratches where those fingers were mostly gone without correction. Just several passes of the Perfection. So if you wipe it down with like a quick detailer after you do some passes, you won't get the compound smudge that we see on here. But I'm just trying to give you guys a rough idea of what to expect when doing what on here. Now that I've done the top so many passes, it's kind of outshining the bottom now. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to hit the bottom again. Can't hurt. Alright guys, we're all waxed up, all wiped up. She's clean and ready. See if she can't win any awards. We'll find out. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Like if you liked the video, feel free to subscribe. I much appreciate it. I've got tons of different videos. I do a bunch of different stuff. Comment down below if you have any more questions about any of the methods I use, any of the products that I use. But alright, that's it for me guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!